Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much. My name is Dennis Brown, and this is my weekly Freight Broker Bootcamp Live training. Today, I have a question for you. Have you ever struggled to find a shipping prospect's name, phone number, email address? Well, if you've been in a freight broker for more than 5 minutes, the answer to that question is yes. So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite freight broker sales tools that's going to help you find that information very, very quickly. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So happy that you're here. When you join me, hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to try to do some shout outs before we do the training. The agenda is going to be this. First, we're going to do the training. Okay. Then we're going to do a giveaway, maybe a Freightpreneur t-shirt, maybe some cash. Stick around for the giveaway. And then at the end, we're going to do live Q&A. All right. So if you hang with me, you can ask me any questions you want about freight broker startup, freight broker sales, freight broker marketing, anything that I cover today in my training or otherwise, and I'll do my absolute best to try to answer your questions. Thank you again so much for being here. Truly appreciate it. I do these lives every Monday at noon. So what I want you to do right now is take out your phone and set a reminder, right? Set a reminder at 11:45. Freight Broker Bootcamp Live at noon, right? And then you'll get an email if you're on my email list, if you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, or if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see it, where to log in, where to access it like you are now. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. Let's do some quick shout outs and then we'll get the ball rolling. Cynthia Moore from Maryland, welcome. Shaka Robinson from Hope Mills, North Carolina, welcome. Kevin Perry from Raleigh. Holistic Logistics from Kennesaw, Georgia. Noah Edmond from Rayford, North Carolina. What else we got? We got Gary from Houston. We got Corey from Billings, Montana. We got people from all over the place. Jomo Mighty from Florida, as usual. Joe from Portland, Oregon. Cassandra from Chicago, Illinois. Illinois. Zumair from Pakistan. Mickey from Chicago. TBD from Memphis, Tennessee. We got Armac from Toronto. Phil Bradley from Portsmouth, Ohio. Luis Hernandez from Lehigh Acres, Florida. Turner Paris from Beckley, West Virginia. All right. My mouth, my tongue, my lips are not working very well today, so forgive me. Hopefully that goes away before I start the training. But listen, thank you everybody for joining me. Truly appreciate you being here. We're going to let a few people get live. The agenda today is simple. The training is about one of my favorite freight broker sales tools. I'm going to share with you this tool. It's designed to help you find shipper leads, contacts, and their contact information, including phone and email. Okay, so that's what I'm going to share with you today is one of my favorite online tools to do that. It will save an enormous amount of time for freight brokers, freight agents, any salespeople in general. But yeah, very few freight brokers know about this. So I'm going to share it with you now in just a minute. That's going to be the training. Then we're going to do a quick giveaway. Then we're going to do live Q&A. Now, if you're catching this on replay, hit me up in the comments with hashtag replay. Okay, I love to hear from my replay folks. I'll try to give you a shout out later. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. So I'm basically going to be demoing this software for you really quick. I'm going to be showing you how the software works. So I don't have like a written down agenda today, but I do have some very important stuff I want to share with you. What else we got? We got Thomas from Houston. We got Rel 116 from Cleveland, Ohio. We got Dushan Prater from Idaho. We got Kristen Anderson from Greenville, Texas. And we got people from all over the place, multiple continents, multiple states. I don't know where you guys are joining me, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I stream it on all of those platforms. And again, I'm excited you're here. Let me grab a quick drink and then we'll get this ball rolling. I don't want to delay, as I know you guys are busy. All right, so let's make sure I've got my head together here and we will get the ball rolling. We got John Heller from Johnstown, PA. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. So Let me just check really quick and make sure I've got my stuff together. All right. And then we will proceed. Okay. Question for you. Have you ever struggled to find a shipping prospect's name, phone number, email, contact information in general? As I said before, if you've been a freight broker for more than 5 minutes, the answer to that question is yes. Today, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite freight broker sales tools to help you get that information quickly, easily, save time, and help you get shippers faster, okay, with less frustration. So there are tons of sales tools out there, okay? Some of them are free, some of them are paid. And again, the data and the information and the tools themselves vary. Some of them are lead databases, some of them are more analytics-based tools, some of them are sales intelligence tools. There's all kinds of sales tools out there. But when it comes to sales, one of the most important components of doing cold outreach via email or phone or LinkedIn is to have the person's name, email, phone number, and some basic information about the company, right? That's critical to your success when you're doing cold outreach. So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite tools. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Sorry. Okay, so you guys should be seeing my LinkedIn profile. So this is really a combination of two things. I'm not going to really talk to you about LinkedIn today because LinkedIn has been, you guys know that that's by far one of my favorite freight broker sales tools for sure, for gathering sales intelligence, making connections, starting dialogues. But a lot of times when you're on LinkedIn and you're doing some sort of a search, we'll do a quick search for shipping manager, just the title of someone that might be a part of my prospecting list. And when we look for that, you can see I've got 217,000 results. Now, a lot of these are second level connections. As you see here, first, second, third level connections. So I probably don't have the contact information for them, right? So if I click on this person, right, if I click on their name, they're a shipping manager at Lippert, at International Refrigeration Products, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I have some basic information on them, right? If I click on this one here, you can see also what happens is his name's Kevin. He's a shipping manager from Concept Printing, right? We've got some basic information, but the problem is I don't have his phone number. I don't have his email. So you may have seen this little tab over here that says Lucia. Now, Lucia is a software. It's a SaaS product. It's a tool. It's a plugin that actually plugs into your Chrome browser that integrates with LinkedIn. So if I click on Kevin's contact and I pull up Lucia, all of a sudden I've got his name. I've got some basic information about the company. It gives me a summary about the company. It gives me approximately how many employees, the type of service, specialties, the years founded, a revenue range. It gives me a lot of great sales intelligence right there on the fly that I can't easily find through his LinkedIn profile. Now, I could do some additional research, but again, this is all about saving time and gathering information. Now, if I'm looking for his contact information, there is a free component to this service where you can do a free trial, and then there's also a paid version. So you're going to have to check out kind of the subscriptions and the different pricing plans and things behind the scenes. But I can tell you after seeing this, I think you're going to be impressed. So if I click on show contact, what you're going to find out is it immediately gives me his email address. It's Kevin at Team Concept Printing. I can add that. I can add contact details here. Again, there's lots of things that I can do with this. I can copy it. I can, update it. I can tag it. There's lots of things that I can do with this Lucia plugin tool. And there's another really cool component here. So now I've gotten Kevin's email. Now what I can do, and I've gathered some sales intelligence, I can actually go in and I can send him an email, or I can send him a connection request. I can use some of this information here. I can gather some additional contact information. And, we've now advanced the opportunity and we've enhanced the opportunity to actually start a conversation, a dialogue, and to move towards a possibility of an actual relationship and a sale later on. So you can see here, there's another really cool feature built right into the plugin, and it says view similar contacts. If I were to click on this, it's going to open a browser window, go over to Lucia, the actual service itself, the software service itself. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up it's going to pull up companies in the United States, printing service, approximately the same size, and it's going to be seniority of a manager. And then you can see here, these are all contacts within different companies that where you can get access to that, where you can see that, right? So if you wanted to click on show the details for this gentleman or Nicole or Amy, all this information is here, and these are very similar companies. So if you were in the printing niche, say that was a niche you were going to focus in on, you would be able to access a whole bunch of companies very, very quickly. You can see here all of these different companies that are very similar to the lead that I just looked up on LinkedIn. So that's an example of how Lucia could work. So let's do another quick search, okay? So we're going to scroll down. We're going to find Wyatt Jacobson, right? He's a shipping manager at Cargill, which is a large company, obviously. We can see that he's been with the company since 2017. He graduated from Northeast Community College. Some of his interests he follows. These are some of the things that he's interested in. Now, you can see here the company. It says, our team of 160,000 professionals. Cargill obviously is a very large company. The number of employees. Oh, you know what? Shoot. I blew it, didn't I? I didn't put it up on the screen. I'm sorry, guys. I blew it. Let's start over. Well, we'll just pick it up from here. You guys have heard. So this is you can see here, all I did was I did a search for shipping manager, right, in LinkedIn. And then I went down to one of these prospects. I went down to Wyatt Jacobson, who's with Cargill. I'm sure you guys can see it now. And then you can see this plugin here. What happens is when I land on his profile, this little plugin that's a part of Chrome pops up. I click on it, and then I can click show contact. And now it's going to show me his email address, right? So I now have his email address. I now have some basic information. Now, sometimes it will actually show the phone number as well, but not always, but almost virtually always. You won't have to pay for anything unless it at least shows you your email address. But a lot of times you get email and phone number, right? So this is how you gather that information. And again, if we want to view similar contacts to Cargill, who's someone who's a shipping manager that works for a similar company, all we do is click on that. It's going to pull up similar companies. There's 329 job changes you can see here. So you got these different companies, right? In this industry, international trade and development, you got all these different companies here. So let me show you another cool trick. So, well, let's do one more, right? So again, you just go to, because I kind of blew the initial demo here, you go to your LinkedIn, you do a search for, let's say, logistics manager. Okay. You click on people, because this is going to show you profiles. And then what happens is you can click on any of these people, and you're going to, at that point, let's click on Senior Logistics Manager Jim Florsch. I think that's how you pronounce it. And you can see here he works for Pentair, which is another great company. He's been there since 2022. You can gather some sales intelligence, and then you can get some information about the company. You can get kind of a sense as to what they do in sales, $1 billion plus, the company they're located in, United Kingdom. And then with this, you simply click show contact, and here you go. Now you've got not only the email, but you also have the phone number for this gentleman, right? So how quick was that? How easy was that? That was super easy, super fast. And, there's different subscriptions. It's really, actually, when I looked at it, it's actually really affordable. compared to a lot of other systems out there like Zoom Info and some of the other really, really high-end expensive databases out there, all of which are very good, but a lot of times are very expensive to kind of get started. So that's another example of how to use it. And then let me give you another example here, okay? Once you're a free or paid member of Lucia, and again, you can just go to lucia.com, and then it'll tell you how to download the Chrome plugin, and it'll tell you how to sign up for free. But I did a recent search here before we logged in, and I was looking for beverage manufacturers in the United States, because that was a niche that we used to do a lot of business in, that were doing between 5 million and 100 million in sales. And I was looking for job titles that had the term logistics in it. Okay. So what I did is I did that search, and you can see here where all of these people right here, not only was I able to use it to find a contact that I found on LinkedIn, but I was also able to use it based on a specific search criteria off of LinkedIn. So I now have all of these different potential contacts, and I don't even have to show details or take the lead, so to speak, right? If I take the lead here, it's going to show me obviously it's going to show me the information like this, right? So Luke, here's his email, here's his phone number. If all I want is the name of the director of logistics, now I have the name without even taking the lead. If I want to know the name of the trade marketing and logistics manager at Tito's Handmade Vodka, most of you have probably heard of Tito's. It's one of my favorite vodkas, believe it or not. These are all different companies and people that work within those organizations that have a title that has logistics in it. So you can obviously customize this search however you want based upon seniority, department, contact name, job title. Like if I did the job title and it had shipping in it, let's say it includes shipping. All right, so now all of a sudden I've got shipping coordinator, shipping, loading, shipping coordinator, shipping clerk, shipping and warehouse supervisor. You can see this is great data. This is great information. This is great sales intelligence on any of your prospects. So the tool that I'm sharing with you today, once again, is lucia.com. You can access the data directly through the website. You can access the data directly through LinkedIn with their LinkedIn plugin, right? Which is this Lucia LinkedIn plugin that I shared with you. When we do a search for shipping manager, and then we go to people, and then we scroll down, right? We scroll down and we randomly pick one of these contacts. All of a sudden it's going to pop up, and there's the contact. You can see it right here. Okay, so this guy's in the Chicago area. If I were to show contact, it's going to give me the email, which we got right here. It's also giving me the phone number, right? And this shows as a mobile number. So these aren't just always the company numbers. Sometimes you're going to get the actual mobile cell phone number for the prospect, which can be extremely powerful, right? So that's the tool. It's called lucia.com. Again, if you guys want to check it out, you just simply go to lucia.com. And there are, again, I'm not an affiliate for these companies. They're not a sponsor of mine. I have no relationship with them other than the fact that I've used this tool. I recommend this tool to all my high-end consulting and coaching clients. And I wanted to share it with you guys today. There's different pricing out there based upon whether you're doing annual or monthly, the number of leads that you want to take, and so on and so forth. But for me, I believe this software is very affordable for what you get access to, and the value of that. Because again, remember, you have to know who you're calling. If you're just calling the shipping department and asking for the shipping manager, okay, if you're just doing that, if you're just taking that generic approach of, hey, can I talk to the shipping manager? You're going to get screened out a lot by the gatekeepers. And when they pick up the phone on the other end, if you don't ask for them by name, they're automatically going to put you in the mode of rejection. So what I mean by that is this: you need to stop putting yourself in a position where you force the buyer on the other end or the contact on the other end to automatically go to the mode of rejection. And that's what happens when you don't ask for somebody by name and you don't sound like you know what you're talking about. Okay. So by having the name, you're going to create that familiarity. You're going to create that level of know, like, and trust that you need in order to get the first minute or two of dialogue so that you can then move through the sales process, right? So that's what Lucia does. That's the tool I wanted to share with you today. I also want to continue. If you guys think this is valuable, okay, these types of sales tools and me sharing different tools with you, let me know in the comments, because here's the thing, guys. There are tons of sales tools out there, and I'm not always out there scouring the market for every tool, but there are tons of new sales software and programs and databases and systems out there. And I think it would be interesting if I were to be able to do a little bit of research, try some of them out, and then kind of vet them a little bit. And then I could bring them to you as my audience and share them with you, and you can participate in them or not. You can do your own research on them or not, whatever you decide to do. But I think some of these tools like Lucia, ZoomInfo, LinkedIn, as well as many others, are extremely powerful tools that you need to start using if you're going to be successful as a freight broker or freight agent. So listen, guys, if you guys want to be a part of my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, that's my 5-week Freight Broker Sales Coaching Program where I take that piece of my brain, I transplant it into your head, my favorite sales strategies, tactics, tools, and my entire freight broker sales system that allowed me to do over $200 million as a freight broker. Get on the wait list at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Now, it's not a free program. It's not a cheap program, but it's worth 10 or 20x whatever you invest in it. I promise you. Okay. It's the best program I've ever put out there. Out of over 700 students that have went through the program, we have a 9.2 out of 10 rating. Okay. I can't do much better than that. But again, it's sold out right now. You can't get access right now. But if you're not on the wait list, when I do open it up, in the new year, you won't know, you won't get access, and you'll get locked out because it sells out every single time. Okay. So you guys can check that out. Get on the wait list at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Again, that's very sales oriented. If you're looking for just help with startup, right? If you're just in the early stages and you need to get your authority set up and you need to get your bond and you need to maybe just start becoming an agent, or you need to learn the fundamentals, then what I want you to do then is just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. That is my startup program. It's a go at your own pace, right? The most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker and freight agent training program available. Trained over 10,000 students through that program. And we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. So you guys can check that out. Appreciate you guys being here. Listen, the price of admission is to hit the like button right now. Do me that favor if you found this information valuable. Subscribe to wherever you're listening. Follow me on LinkedIn. And again, remember, I do these live trainings every Monday at noon. Sorry about the little glitch at the beginning of the demo where I didn't share the screen. That was my fault. I told you early on that I was a little befuddled. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate you being here. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next Monday on the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Now, for those of you that are sticking around for the free giveaway and for the live Q&A, hang tight. Okay, hang tight. Give me a minute, and we will get that ball rolling. Do not type your questions in the chat box yet, okay? Because we're not ready to do live Q&A. We're going to do the giveaway first, okay? We got quite a few people live between Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I had a little too much caffeine today. I'm a little jittery. Cool. Yeah, do me a favor, guys. I don't spend a bunch of money on paid advertising. I don't spend a ton of money doing that. I spend very little money on paid advertising. So most people find out about Freight Broker Bootcamp through word of mouth. Okay. People are sharing, liking, commenting on different platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then that pushes it out to other people, and then they find it. So, do me a favor, hit the like button. Truly appreciate it. It costs you absolutely nothing. And again, if you continue to engage in these programs, you continue to like, comment, and share, I'll continue to show up every Monday at noon. But if you guys don't, and we're not getting the engagement that we need, I promise you I could find something very valuable to do with this hour that I spend every single week. Okay. So hit the like button if you want me to come back next week and do more free trainings. And why don't we jump into the giveaway? Okay. All right. So we're going to give away a Freightpreneur t-shirt. It says, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. All right. So we're going to give away one shirt. You got to be in the United States. I don't ship these internationally. Okay. So I'm going to let you know that up front. Okay. And I'm going to make it very easy for you to get a chance to win. I'm going to give away one of these shirts, but you got to listen carefully. Okay. Here's all I want you to do. Take out your smartphone, Apple, Android, whatever you're on. If you're an Apple user, pull up your podcast app. Just search podcast. It's already installed on your Apple phone. You're going to see an Apple podcast. And what you can do is you can simply search in your podcast for Freight Broker Bootcamp. And what you're going to see is you're going to see the Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience. You're going to see my bald, shiny head and the logo and all that jazz. Okay. What I want you to do, it's absolutely free to check out that content. We've got hundreds of episodes on there. It's all free training. It's all audio only. But what I want you to do is rate, review, and subscribe. It'll take you 60 seconds. All you do is go in and hit the follow, subscribe button, rate and a review. It'll take you no time at all. Come back into the comments here and let me know, rate, reviewed, subscribed on Apple. You got to let me know the platform. Rate, this is what you need to type. Listen carefully. If you want to be a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt, rate, reviewed, subscribed on Apple. Now, you can also do this on Spotify. You can also do this on Google Podcasts. You can also do this on other podcast apps. So if you're on Android, you obviously don't have the Apple Podcast app, but you can get access to Spotify or Pandora or Google Podcast or any number of different places where you listen to music or podcasts, okay? And then rate, review, subscribe. Come into the comments, hit me up with rate, review, and subscribe, and I will enter you as one person who has a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt. We're going to give that away in just a couple minutes, and then we're going to go into Q&A. But hold your questions to the end, because if you type them in now, they're going to totally get lost in the feed, okay? All right. All right, so we got Lewis. We've got Joe. Hold your questions to the end because it's going to get lost, okay? You're going to have to retype that question in because you got to understand, I have a feed of comments that's coming from LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So you don't see them all, but I'm seeing tons. By the end of this, there'll be well over 100 comments, okay? Typically is what I see. So hold tight on that. If you're on Apple, all you got to do is type in podcast, search for podcast, the podcast app. It's a purple app, okay? It's a purple app. All you do is click on that purple app. It'll pop up, and then you can just search for Freight Broker Bootcamp and just do the search. We've been ranked in the top 100 out of all entrepreneur podcasts by Apple, right? I'm not talking about freight and logistics. I'm talking about out of all entrepreneur podcasts. We've been very, very blessed. And a lot of that has to do with you guys and the listeners who consume all the content and give me good reviews, right? The review I'm asking from you, just be honest, right? If it's a 1 because I suck, give me a 1. If it's a 5, give me a 5, okay? But ultimately, yeah, you can do it on Apple. You can do it on Spotify. You can do it on Google Podcast. So give us a rate, review, and subscribe. And I'm going to pick one of you to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. I've given away hundreds of these shirts, by the way, hundreds over the last several years. Okay. Probably in the last 2-3 years, I've given away at least a couple hundred of these shirts. I'm not even trying to sell them, right? But I do give away the shirts. And it was something that I wore one time, just as kind of something I created for myself to wear in these lives. And then all of a sudden people were like, hey, where do I get a shirt? Where do I get a shirt? Where do I get a shirt? So I just started giving them away. And if you guys want a chance to win it, all you got to do is rate, review, and subscribe. Kevin Perry, rate, reviewed, subscribed. Yeah, I don't know, buddy. If you're on an iPhone, the podcast app is pre-installed on your phone. At least it always has been. Maybe you got to go to the App Store and download it, but it's always been on there. So you just search podcast unless you deleted it. I don't know. But yeah, if you can't do it there, then if you have a Spotify account, you can do the same thing there. Oh, you're not seeing Freight Broker Bootcamp when you search for it? Okay. So I don't know. If you go into the Apple Podcast app, I'm seeing it. I just searched for it right here. Search Freight Broker. If you just search Freight Broker, it'll come up. It'll come up as the top. In mine, it comes up as the top result, right? So you can see it right there as the top result. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure what's happening on your end. If you just search shows, it's also the top result. Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience. Okay, all right, so you got 60 seconds, and then we're going to do the giveaway, and then we'll go into live Q&A. Hold your questions. All right, so we got 4 or 5 people that have followed instructions. All right, cool. There you go. All right, I'm glad you got it. And we're going to 30 seconds. We're going to do the giveaway. Make sure you hit me up with rate, review, subscribe, wherever you're listening to this. I would tell you that 90+% of the people that listen to the podcast listen on Apple or Spotify. I mean, those are my stats. I get a lot of stats. We get, I don't know, it's probably somewhere between 10 and 20,000 downloads a month of the podcast. It's not huge. It's not a lot, but it's very consistent. And I'm just happy to have it. It's something that I put together a few years ago. It's a great way to consume content. It's my best of my best of my best audio only content. You can listen to it when you're on the treadmill. You can listen to it when you're walking the dogs. My favorite place to listen to podcasts is when I'm driving. Okay. So when I drive down to my property, it's an hour and 15-minute drive. I consume a bunch of podcasts. It's my favorite way to consume information, even more than YouTube, believe it or not. I spend more time on Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcasts than I do on YouTube. So try it out. If you're not listening to the podcast, you're missing out. All right, cool. So we're going to do the giveaway. So I'm going to randomly pick one person. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to scroll through. I'm going to pick one person, and that person is going to be the lucky winner. The lucky winner is Kevin Perry. Kevin Perry. Thank you so much, Kevin. Rate, reviewed, subscribed on Apple. Awesome. Congratulations. You're the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. I'll ship that out to you. All you have to do, hit me up on LinkedIn or on the Facebook, the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page with your full name, your mailing address, your size, and that you won the podcast subscribe t-shirt giveaway. Okay. I need your name, your address. I need your size. This is unisex sizing, right? This is a male large, right? So size accordingly. And then make sure you let me know you won the podcast subscribe t-shirt giveaway. We'll ship that out to you. You'll get it within a couple of weeks. And again, thank you everybody for playing along. I truly appreciate it. Whoever has questions about Lucia or about gathering sales intelligence or about freight broker sales or about freight broker marketing or operations or getting set up or anything to do with freight brokerage, okay, or freight agents, type your questions in the box. I'll start answering as many as I can. Here's the reality. I won't get to everybody's questions. I rarely do. I usually have way more questions than I have time, but I will do my best. Okay, so hit me up. Okay, TBD says, what would you send a shipper who asked you for info via email? All right, good question. Well, what I would do is I would ask, if they ask for that information, I would ask a clarifying question on exactly what they're looking for. So if you asked me for that, I'd say, okay, great, no problem. I'd love to do that. What exactly are you looking for, or do you need to help you move the process forward? Something as simple as that. So maybe they're going to say, send us your credit application. That's a buying signal. Maybe they're going to say, send us proof of your broker authority. That's another buying signal. Maybe they're going to say, send us your insurance, whatever insurances you have. We require contingent cargo insurance. Now you know that that company requires it or may not require it. What's going to happen is you're going to clarify exactly what they're looking for versus assuming you know what they're looking for. Because the last thing you want to do is go send an email with a PDF that has 30 pages in it, because I promise you, they're not going to read it. And what happens by asking that clarifying question, you're going to get some additional sales intelligence on what's important to them. If they just say, oh, I don't care, just send me some info, you know that they're probably just trying to get you off the phone. And at that point, you might want to dig in and try to rejuvenate the conversation or ask a good question to try to continue the conversation so that you can develop the rapport and trust needed in order to move that conversation forward. Because your job is not to send out info, okay? You're not going to get shippers by sending out info. That's just a very small part of the process. You have to develop that know, like, and trust. And by asking that clarifying question, a lot of times you're going to be able to garner and gather some additional sales intelligence. So I hope that helps. Okay, Nino asks, is it difficult to find broker agents to work on straight commission if offered 60 or 70%? Well, let me qualify this. If there are basically two types of agents that you can hire. There are agents who have, well, there's three. There's three types of agents you can hire. You can hire agents who are brand new to the industry, have no experience or customer base, okay? They've got some training, they've got some basics, and you would have to help and train them. Those are very readily available. There's lots of those, okay? There's also people in the brokerage industry who have experience as brokers or as on the carrier side, right? Who have a little bit of experience but don't have a customer base. Those are pretty readily available. And then you've got the last one, which is brokers, W-2 brokers that are working inside of a brokerage, or they're already an established agent for someone else who have a customer base. And that's the third group. That's the most difficult group to attract for obvious reasons, especially if you're a startup. Okay. So those are the three groups. Group 1 and 2 are very easy to find and get. Group 3 is a lot harder for obvious reasons. They have a customer base. They've got a book of business. There's a lot of companies out there that they can go to that have more established agent programs that probably have maybe a little bit better service, a little bit better brand, more marketing, better credit, things of that nature. So I hope that helps. Oh, via mail. Yeah. TBD, same thing. Hard copy mail, same thing. If they're looking for something via regular mail, I would still ask those clarifying questions. Okay, exact same thing. I would ask the clarifying questions of exactly what they're looking for. Okay, Joe asks, what do you think about having DAT help you open your brokerage? Joe, I don't know. I don't even know if, I'm sure I know there are companies out there that have these done for you services where they will file your FMCSA authority, your application for your broker authority. They'll help you with your bond. They'll help you with your BOC3. You know, there are providers out there that will help you do that. What I found is that they're generally pretty expensive and they're really not needed because it's just not that hard. Okay. You can do it yourself. As a matter of fact, if you really wanted to spend a half an hour, you could probably research it for free and you could probably figure it out. And then you just have to take the steps. If you join Freight Broker Bootcamp as a bootcamp customer, we walk you through that entire process. Now, we don't do it for you. We teach you how to do it, right? So we're that teach a man to fish versus feed a man to fish. So I'm not saying that they're a bad company because the DAT is a good company. I've never used their service, so I can't really represent it. I personally don't think that those services are necessary for most people. It's not that difficult to fill out the application. It's not that difficult to get your bond. It's just not that difficult to set up your brokerage. So I don't think those service providers can provide an enormous amount of value. And a lot of them I've seen are relatively expensive. They're not cheap. You know, anywhere between $500 and $1,000 additional cost above and beyond the application, above and beyond the BOC3, above and beyond the bond, right? So, you know, depending on your budget, act accordingly. Yes, Desmond, the software, the service is called Lusha, LUSHA.com. And the Chrome plugin that you would search through Google Chrome, the App Store on Google Chrome, is Lusha. Yeah, it's a free plugin. You can actually download that even prior to having a paid account. You'll have to sign up for a free account. And if you do sign up for a free account, I think they give you like 25 credits for free, I think. And then that's how you can kind of try it before you buy it. And then you can subscribe accordingly based upon the number, based upon how much you want to invest, right? I think their plans start out at like $29 a month, I think. So yeah, very affordable especially for what you're getting. Okay, TBD. Do you have a different approach for spot freight? What would be your target profit for first spot load from a new shipper you never worked on? I really only worked in this. I really worked on the spot market. That's really where most freight brokers operate, is in the spot market. Okay. And you can get dedicated freight. It just typically won't be contract freight as a broker. You can get that, but it's not the norm. Most brokers operate in the spot market. So no, my approach for spot market versus dedicated freight really wouldn't be that much different. You usually start out in the spot market and then you become dedicated later based on proving yourself, right? And building that trust. The second part of your question, what would your profit for the first spot load be from a new shipper you never worked with? So if I were quoting a shipper and he or she just gave me one lane, okay, I would do my research and I would look at it and I would say, okay, what's the level of difficulty to cover this load? Okay. So if I go to the load boards and there's really no trucks in that lane, then I know it's going to be a lot more difficult. If it's a lot more difficult, then I know the rate's got to go up and my margin's got to go up. It's just the way it is. Okay. If it's less difficult and it's a little easier, then, and there's more availability of equipment and I'm going to be able to cover it pretty easy, then I may reduce my margins a little bit. Typically, when you're starting out with a new prospect, you're probably going to quote that first lane just to get your foot in the door. You're probably going to quote the profit on that first lane somewhere between 10 and 15%, and in my opinion, a minimum of $100 profit. Okay, so if you're talking about a $500 load, I still want to make $100 for my time. I really don't waste time on $50 loads or $25 loads at all, ever. So yeah, minimum of $100 in profit, 10 to 15% profit margin, right? Not markup. Markup and margin are different, okay? But profit margin. So that means on a $1,000 load, if I made 15%, it means that I would have made $150 and I would pay the carrier $850. Okay, so that's an example of a 15% profit margin. So hope that helps. Okay, Cassandra says, I'm starting out. What should I make the priorities after training for freight brokering? Second part is surety, another entity to another business venture. Okay. Let me read you. What should I make the priorities after training for freight broker? All right. Well, if you're going to become a freight broker and you're actually going to become a licensed broker, you got to get your authority. So that's priority number one. Okay. Priority number two would be to find your niche. Okay. Priority number three would be to start selling. Okay. You got to get your leads and you got to start selling. I can tell you that if you go to, let me see, I'm going to give you a link that you can go to with the steps, which make it very, very easy for you to prioritize. Okay. I'm going to pull it up here. Hold on one second. Banner. I'm going to create a link for you that I'll show on the screen. If you go to this URL, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, become-freight-broker-7-steps. Okay. If you go to that URL, you will see an entire blog post that will describe the 7 steps and what you need to prioritize. And you can actually download a cheat sheet from there. Okay. So that would be my suggestion to you. Okay. So I think that'll help you a lot more than me just, trying to fill in the blanks there and read your mind. But yeah, I think that that would be what I would do, what I would suggest. Let's see if I answered the second part of that question. Let's see. Oh, the other part of it was, is surety another entity to another business venture? No, a surety bond is designed to protect carriers from brokers not paying them. Okay. So it's a surety bond, right? And so it has nothing to do with shippers. It has nothing to do with freight claims. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a broker has to have a $75,000 surety bond in order to get their broker authority activated and in order to do business. And that protects carriers up to $75,000 by the surety company. Okay. And so you would put that bond will be in your brokerage name and under your brokerage MC. And so, yeah, that would be probably one of the first things you would do in getting your broker authority is you would probably get that bond approved, or you'd file your application, then get your bond approved. And then the bonding company will notify the FMCSA that you now have an active bond. And then as they check those things off the list, then you become active. I hope that answers your question. If it's not, then clarify in the next question. Do you know about TIE software for brokers and Moody's Analytics? Are they good software to get? The hard part about software is that there's new software coming out all the time. And I built all my own software when I had my brokerage. Okay. So I didn't have a lot of experience in working with other people's software. And because I'm not a broker now, I sold my brokerage in 2016. I don't have a TMS that I personally prefer for my own brokerage because I spent millions of dollars building my own, and I would never recommend that to anybody. There's lots of great software out there. The software that I always recommend to new brokers is Ascend TMS. They are a preferred partner for Freight Broker Bootcamp. If you go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS, you can get a free trial without even putting your credit card in. All you have to do in the coupon code is put FBBC. That's it. They'll also, if you sign up, they'll also give you a free lead database, a shipper database. Now, this doesn't come from me. This comes from them. But if you go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS, that's our preferred partner for TMS startup, for freight broker startups. Again, all you got to do is put FBBC in the coupon code, and you can sign up for free without a credit card, which is unusual, right? Most software requires you to put a credit card in. They give you a 7-day or 30-day trial, and then they automatically ding you on the next day after that. But these guys don't do that. They're so confident in the software that you're going to like it, that you're going to come back and be willing to enter your credit card information when you want to get, extend your capabilities and extend the use of it. So I hope that helps. I know that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but I don't have specific knowledge of every software out there, so I can't really help you with that right now. Kristen asks, regarding Lucia, have you been able to log in on multiple devices with one user? Good question. I have not tried to use my phone for Lucia, but I believe it does work across multiple devices, but don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. Give it a try. I know it works well on the Chrome browser, right? But I'm not positive how well that's going to work on mobile. I'm not positive. Again, the interfaces are very different. I have not done it on my iPhone using LinkedIn, so I'm not positive. It may not work on your phone because, again, with your phone, you're using the app. You're using the LinkedIn app. You're not using the Chrome browser, so I'm not positive, right? You'd have to do a little bit of research there. Cynthia, would it be worth your time to connect with someone on LinkedIn that has less than 100 connections themselves? It could be if they're the right person, right? If they're a shipping manager, logistics manager, traffic manager, transportation manager, someone who has their hands in the cookie jar when it comes to freight, management and freight spend, it could be. I don't judge a prospect's viability based on the number of contacts they have. I judge it based upon who they are, the company they're with, and the role that they play, right? So as far as prospects go, that's how I would qualify it. Now, if you're just looking to connect with somebody on LinkedIn who doesn't have a very well-established profile and doesn't have a lot of connections, that would be completely up to you, right? That's just networking in general. So let's say you connect with a carrier that has less than 100 connections. It could still be worthwhile depending upon the synergies that you have with that carrier. If you're just connecting with someone random, there is some value to it, because the way LinkedIn works is that, even though they only have 100 connections, right? And they would be your first level connection, all 100 of his connections would be your second level connections. So it will expand your network. But you are right. The larger the number of connections, the more valuable that contact is to you on LinkedIn. But I don't know that I would necessarily. Now, if somebody had 3 connections and I didn't know them, I probably wouldn't connect with them, because I would automatically think that there's something going on, right? It would be a little suspicious. But, proceed cautiously. William, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm so happy that you joined Boot Camp and the Sales Accelerator. Congrats. So happy that you joined. So happy that you're here in the live. Keep us posted how we can help. Okay. And again, just for those of you, just as a kind of a side note, because he just brought it up, if you guys want to get on the wait list for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. It's free to get on the list. That's for my 5-week Freight Broker sales training and coaching program. That's where I take that piece of my brain, I transplant it in your head, I help you implement it to help you get shippers faster in any economic climate, boom or bust. Okay. So that's absolutely, you're going to want to get on that wait list. Again, that is for people specifically that need help on how to get shippers, right? This has nothing to do with setting up your Freight Broker Authority or becoming an agent or rating or any of that stuff. This has to do with sales, which is really where the rubber hits the road when it comes to any business. You have to be able to get customers. And that's where I share my entire system on doing that. So get on the wait list, and it will absolutely sell out. If you're not on the wait list, you will have 0 chance to get enrolled. Okay. Let's see. Okay, TBD. How would you target drayage? I've seen some ports have rail access on site. Seems that this would lessen the need for drayage there, but your thoughts? Drayage can come in multiple formats, right? So drayage is, all right, so if you have an intermodal shipment, which means it's a multi-mode shipment, which means it's going to usually, like if you're using rail or ocean or air, it goes on a truck at the pickup location, goes to the rail or to the port and gets loaded onto the vessel. And then it goes across the sea or via rail. And then on the other end, at the other location, they offload it from the rail or the ocean vessel, and it goes on a truck to the final delivery. So that's how an intermodal shipment works. So it's 2 drayage movements with a rail or vessel, ocean vessel in between, typically is what we're talking about. So when you're targeting, I don't think having a rail next to a rail spur next to a port is necessarily a bad thing, because I can guarantee that not all that product that's going on the ocean vessel or coming off the ocean vessel is going to hit the rail. Some of it will, but when the majority, it's going to go on a truck. Okay. Because you got to understand, if it goes ocean to rail, now all of a sudden they're going to have to put it, they would only do that in rare circumstances. It doesn't happen nearly as much as what you think. Matter of fact, I've never been asked by a shipper to quote that. Okay. But what you would do to target the import-export industry and to target drayage, especially for ocean freight, would be to find importers, exporters, and international freight forwarders. Those are your three targets. Companies like large companies or any companies that's importing, exporting, or a international freight forwarder. In the case where you're going to be going after international freight forwarders, which is probably the easiest, that's going to be kind of a co-broker relationship because they have access to do international freight forwarding that a normal broker doesn't have, right? So they have contracts with NVOCCs, or they are an NVOCC. They also have, they might have customs built in. They've got a different license, right? They've got different contacts. It's a different business, right? An international freight forwarder is different than a domestic freight broker. So a lot of times, international freight forwarders will hire brokers to help them source and manage the drayage side in the US. So it's kind of like a partnership, right? So your customer would be the international freight forwarder. You would bill them. They would pay you. You wouldn't be doing direct with the shipper itself, which is sometimes hard to identify. So I hope that helps. Tamika, I've been in the business as a broker for about 3 months. My next large insurance payment is coming due on the 20th. I've made no sales. Should I suspend my service or give it 3 more months? Tamika, that's an impossible question for me to answer. Okay. I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer that question. Here's my advice though. If you have built a sales pipeline where you have leads and prospects and opportunities that have been established, and you feel comfortable that you will be able to start generating freight in a time frame that allows you to survive based on your cash flow, then move forward. If not, then you may want to suspend your own broker authority and just become an agent. Now, if you transition to an agent, you're not going to have insurance. You're not going to have a bond. You're not going to have an authority. Your only real expense is probably going to be a load board, right? You probably already got a computer. You'll probably just need a load board, which you already have. So expenses are very, very low for agents. And you can make up to 50 to 70% or more of the profit on every single load. So the agent side of the business is an incredible business with less risk, less capital, less difficulty. So those are your two options, right? But again, I can't make that decision for you. That's something you have to judge. I mean, that would be negligent of me to try to tell you exactly what to do, but those are kind of your couple options and how you might evaluate it. I'm having trouble finding my niche. Any advice on niching down? Yes. I'm going to give you some advice, but I'm going to make it easy for you. Okay. I'm going to give you a place to go. I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to put it up on the screen. If you go to here, you can do this. You can go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, how to find your niche as a freight broker or freight agent, or you can just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog and type in niche, and you're going to see an entire blog post and an entire video training that I did with the 4 different strategies for finding your niche. One is based on equipment. The other is based on product type. The other is based on geography and lanes. The other one's kind of a hybrid. Okay. So those are the how to find your niche. That's what I would highly recommend you do. So just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog and then just type in there, searching my articles and my blog posts for niche, and it'll come up. You'll be able to access it. You'll be able to see all the information, walk through it. And I think that'll serve you probably better. So I hope that helps. I'm scrolling. I'm just looking for questions here. Hold on. How much time we have? All right. We're almost out of time. So we're going to try to maybe do another question or two. William, I've never used FreightWave sonar, but I can tell you that I have been told it's very, very expensive. but mileage may vary. Go do your own due diligence. I've never used it personally. I know it's popular with some very large companies, but I don't know what your budget is. But it may be worth looking into. But I don't have any personal experience with it. Cassandra, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm glad that things are moving forward for you. Let me take that banner down real quick. Joffrey, how much really the full training fees to become a freight broker? Okay. So if you want to enroll in Freight Broker Bootcamp Startup Program, we have a gold membership, which is a 1-year full access training for $185 one-time investment. If you want to enroll in the platinum membership, the same exact membership, except you get lifetime access and lifetime support, that's $389 one-time investment. Very, very affordable. Again, that includes all the training, all the steps, everything you need to do to get started, and that's through Freight Broker Bootcamp. Now, there are lots of other training programs out there. Feel free to check them out. We've trained over 10,000 students. I've personally done over $200 million as a freight broker, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. That's the startup training. Now, Freight Broker Sales Accelerator is an advanced program. Not everybody enrolls in that or is required to get enrolled in that or does get enrolled in that. Again, we've had over 700 students go through it, and that program, the price on that varies. I can tell you right now that the starting point for that program was around $1,000, and when I launch it, there's a couple different options there, and that'll go anywhere up to probably $5,000, depending upon the type of membership it is. Right? I'm going to have a couple of different options for people, but that program you're really going to have at or around $1,000 to get started. Again, it's not cheap, but it's worth the investment. If you got one small shipper out of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, one small shipper, you'd probably get about a 10x return on your investment or more with just one small shipper. And that would be an absolute no-brainer if you deploy what I teach you. So I hope that helps. Rates are down, demand are down. Do you think that we hit bottom yet? I think we're at or around the bottom as far as coming off the peak. Here's what you got to understand. And this is something that people don't think about. 2021, 2022, we hit record levels for freight tonnage and rates. Okay? But 5, 10, 15 years ago, tonnage and rates were probably at some time during that period, they were at where they are now. And those probably would have been considered normal. But because we're coming off of record highs, record high demand and record high rates, everybody's freaked out that the world's going to fall. The sky's falling. It's not, guys. Markets go up, markets go down. Rates go up, rates go down. The best part about being a freight broker, now listen to me, lean in, pay attention, is that you don't own the truck and you aren't the shipper paying the bill. You fit yourself in the middle and you make a 10 to 20% margin. So when rates are down, you're still going to make a 10 to 20% margin. When rates are up, you're still going to make a 10 to 20% margin. Okay? Now, demand, obviously, demand is higher, rates go up. As demand is lower, rates go down. But either way, you fit yourself in the middle for sourcing, managing, and solving those problems along the way to get that product from A to Z. So don't get caught up as a broker on where the market is up or down. I don't get it. You guys are worrying about nothing. I mean, I don't mean to understate it, but the reality is you're worrying about nothing. There's tons of freaking freight out there, guys. There's more freight within 1 mile of you, if you live anywhere near a major city, that could make everybody in your family a multimillionaire. That's the truth. You don't have any idea how much freight is out there. So don't get scared by the fact that freight volumes are down and trucking companies are going out of business. The reason why trucking companies are going out of business because they all jumped into the industry. Hundreds of thousands of carriers and drivers jumped into the industry when it was booming, and now there's an oversupply of trucks. So the market has to right itself. When you have too much supply and not enough demand, something's got to change. And in the logistics industry, that means trucking companies go out of business. So that's a necessary evil right now. That's how it works. But once that level comes down to a level where there's a little bit of, homeostasis, a little bit of stability, then you're not going to have that issue. Brokers still have a place in the supply chain, whether markets are up or markets are down. Okay? So hope that helps. All right, last question. Okay, question from Noah. Can agents subscribe to their own load board without an MC? The same question for finding carriers. Now, in order to get a load board with DAT or Truck Stop, you got to have an MC number. So as an agent, you would work under a broker's MC, and that broker will have a load board established already, and they will set you up as a sub account. But as an agent, you typically are not going to be able to sign up for your own load board without an MC, because they want to make sure that they're vetting you, right, to make sure that you're a legitimate provider to prevent any sort of fraud or any sort of issues or anything like that. So yeah, you won't be able to do that, Noah. If you're just an agent, you'll have to be working under a broker. You'll use their MC. And if they're not set up with that load board already and you want to do it, you'll make the payments, just use their MC number, get their approval, and I'm sure they won't have an issue. So no, I hope that helps everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, if you guys want me to provide you more freight broker sales tools, more freight broker tools in general to help you, software, things of that nature to help you grow your business, let me know in the comments. Give me a rating, 1 to 10. 1 is, hey, Dennis, this was terrible. You suck. 10 is, this was extremely valuable, and we'd love to see more cool software to help us grow our business. And I'll try to, if the feedback is good, I'll try to put a list of some more software together, and we'll do these periodically, maybe once a month or from time to time when I find something that's really interesting. Appreciate you guys being here. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. And listen, if you're curious about becoming a freight broker and you're just looking to get started, maybe this is the first time you've ever seen me live, or maybe it's the first time, you're at a point now where you really have a lot of questions, but you're ready to move forward. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Trained over 10,000 students, had this program since 2009, right? I've personally done over $200 million as a freight broker, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. Check it out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Set a reminder. Don't forget, Mondays at noon, I do these freight broker trainings absolutely free. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week on the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live.